The question that I always get is, what are the first steps towards retirement planning? And honestly, I think people way overcomplicate it. And once we overcomplicate it, we get so far down in the weeds that we have decision fatigue and we don't even know where to go or what to do. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through the 4 steps that I would take if I were starting down the retirement planning road. All right, so number 1 is we've got to understand what your income gap is. So we're gonna keep it simple in the beginning here, and then we're gonna get more intense as we go. But an income gap is simply how much money do I have coming in versus how much money do I have going out. And what I see, for example, is that most people maybe have a couple thousand in pension. They've got a couple thousand in Social Security. So there's $4,000 of income coming in, but then they've got, $5, $6, $10,000 going out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to understand what that gap is. Income versus expenses. There's typically a gap. We need to know what that gap is so that we know what we need to solve for, and that's gonna go a long way. My caution for you here though is don't just do the have-tos, right? You're gonna retire, you're gonna wanna go have fun and do things, right? And so yes, we wanna pay the light bill and get the groceries and put gas in the car, but we also wanna travel, we also wanna give money to the grandkids, we also wanna do X, Y, Z, whatever it is for you. One of the most common mistakes that I see in this step is not accounting for what the actual budget is. So here's a tip for you. While you're working, most people don't really know what they spend, right? Normal Americans spend what they bring in. So let's work this backwards. What is your take-home pay? So as you're working, paychecks are coming in. I know we're contributing to 401ks and we're paying taxes and healthcare and yada, yada, yada. But what actually lands in your bank account? So let's say your net paycheck is $5,000 a month and your spouse's net paycheck is a couple $1,000s a month. Net is after taxes what lands in your bank account. So if we've got $5,000 from one and $2,000 from the other, that's $7,000 coming into our bank account every month. One of two things is either gonna happen. Either the savings account's gonna build up because we're not spending it all, or that bank account's gonna be empty at the end of every month. And we're gonna know, hey, we're probably spending about $7,000 a month. So don't overcomplicate the budget, but the budget is not lights, food, gas. The budget is what are we actually spending to maintain the lifestyle that we're having now, and do we want to increase or decrease that lifestyle in retirement? Figure out what your pension will be, what your Social Security will be, and then put that against your budget. What is the gap? All right, that's step number 1. Don't overcomplicate it. Use round numbers. We don't need to know the $19.99 Netflix subscription. Let's just call that $20, all right? Groceries, maybe we spend a few $100s a month on it, right? Like, just put some time and effort into it. A lot of times though, I just like to use what's your net paycheck now? Are you spending it all? Great. If you are, that's what it takes to maintain your lifestyle. Pretty easy and straightforward. All right, number 2, understanding taxation on your savings accounts, all right? This is gonna really blend into some planning later, but understanding how dollars are taxed. So you've seen my buckets if you've watched my channel. We've got our 3 different buckets, right? We've got our tax-deferred bucket, and we've got our taxable bucket here in the middle, and we'll call that taxable. And then we've got our tax-free bucket, all right? And that's as far as I want you to go right now. How many dollars are in each one of these buckets? That helps us understand the taxation on those dollars, and then we can roll that into the next planning steps. But we're keeping it simple, remember. What's your income gap? Understanding the taxation on the different dollars. How much money is in each bucket? All right, so real quick, tax deferred bucket. These are dollars you haven't paid taxes on yet. So things that are in that bucket would be things like IRAs, 401ks, 457s, SEP IRAs, 403bs, your tax-free bucket's your Roth IRA, your Roth 401k, the taxable bucket, that's non-retirement account. Those are things like your joint account, your brokerage account. Everybody's got their own lingo for that, but understanding what type of dollars are where is going to be very beneficial to the planning that you're going to need to do as we continue to get in. Now, this stuff can get complicated, and I know you may not know what type of dollars are in what bucket, and that's why I have this toolkit that we can give you. And if you want to grab that toolkit, it's going to talk about taxation. It's going to talk about income gaps. It's going to talk about how much risk should we have, right? And you can grab that down below. So if you don't really understand how dollars are taxed and what type of dollars are in each bucket, it might make sense to grab that toolkit. Okay, so understanding taxation on the accounts and how much money is in each one of those buckets, I think is a really good place to start. That's all the detail we need right now. Number 3, let's talk through big purchases, okay? It's helpful to get some of those big purchases out of the way in retirement or plan for those big purchases in retirement. So what I want you to think through would be like, do we need another car? Do we need repairs on a home? Do we need to buy a different home? Are we going to give money to kids or grandkids? So this planning for big purchases thing is a little bit more of kind of like dreaming and thinking through what are you trying to do and where are you trying to go. Sometimes we just need a car. Other times we have a huge desire to give a lot of money away. Number 3 step is planning for that and understanding what that looks like, because it might make sense to check some of those boxes before you retire, or if not, we need to plan for them in the future. Number 4 and final thing, we need to project out what does this retirement plan look like. Now, some people are perfectly capable of doing that on their own. Others want someone involved. And so if you want someone involved, we're happy to help. You can grab some time on our calendar down below. But what should this look like? Whether it's with us, whether you're doing it on your own or with someone else, what it should look like when we start talking about projecting things out is we want to be reasonable. So we want to make sure we're not using any crazy big rates of return when it comes to projecting dollars out. All right. We want to be reasonable, and we want to make sure our budget allows for the travel and for the fun, which is why point number 1 that I made is get that income gap figured out, but make sure it has the fun in it as well. All right. Projecting it out means we want to understand the taxation. Okay. And we want to make sure we're paying the right amount of taxes, because those all play into a good retirement plan. So number 4 is putting projections out well into the future to normal life expectancy ages, and then talking through income planning, investment planning, tax planning, healthcare, and legacy planning. All right. If you do number 1, 2, and 3 first, those are really going to help you build out number 4. Again, if you do it on your own, great. If you work with someone like us, they should be talking through income planning, investment planning, tax planning, not using unreasonable rates of return, not using unreasonably low expenses, and making sure that we're accounting for taxation and inflation. This is where it can make sense to work with a financial advisor. Make sure they're a fiduciary licensed financial advisor, which just means they're working in your interest, not theirs. Everyone in our firm is fiduciary licensed. Okay, now, the one thing I want to mention though, is that big purchases. Number 3 that I talked about, I made a video about that recently, and the 9 things that I think you should buy before you retire, and you can grab that video right here. And of course, if you have specific questions, or maybe this video didn't quite answer the question you had, put them in the comments below. And I'm going to read those comments, and I will hopefully at some point make a video to answer those questions, as long as it's not incredibly specific to your situation. As long as it's a somewhat general question, I'll make videos to answer those questions.